One of the companies that has performed extremely well over the past decade is the Home Depot company, stock ticker HD, currently trading at $295.12 per share. We can see over the past 10 years, they're up over 300%. And one of the things that you'll find in common with most blue chip dividend stocks that I think are pretty quality like the Home Depot is if we come over here, look at the short interest, only 1.28%. Not a whole lot of people are short on companies like this because they have such a great history and great free cash flow growth, which brings me to my next point. If we jump over to the statement of cash flows and jump down here, look at that free cash flow per share growth over the past decade, around $4.38 in February of 2014, jump forward to now $11.25 per share. So pretty awesome, but we can see actually over the past year down about 1.41%, and over the past month, they've traded somewhat flat. It's bounced back up over the past couple of days, as you can see here. So in this video, we're going to be jumping into my stock valuation spreadsheet to see if we can find the intrinsic value of Home Depot. We'll be looking at a few different valuation models, as you can see right here. And like always, if you'd like to be able to download this spreadsheet, then you can head over to my Patreon page at the link in the description. But let's go ahead and come up here and plug in the stock ticker for Home Depot and hit enter. And you can see all of this data is going to go ahead and load in. Now, what I do want to point out is if we come over here and look at the dividend yield, a pretty nice starting dividend yield for a company as large as Home Depot, 2.83%. Now let's jump back over to Seeking Alpha. If we come over here and look at the dividend history, we can see pretty good history of increasing dividends as we've already seen, and a really good history of dividend growth. We can see their 10-year compounded annual dividend growth rate, almost 20%. So really good dividend growth company, as you can see, and a pretty nice low payout ratio at the time of this video, sitting at around 45.4. If we come down here, we can see analysts currently have a target price of $326 per share, institutional ownership around 71%. I was actually expecting it to be a little bit higher than that, and a beta of 0.93, so you'll see a little less volatility than that of the market. But let's go ahead and jump into our valuations. And like always, the first we'll look at is Graham's valuation. And here's the formula for us to calculate intrinsic value. So we need to plug in all of our variables, such as the earnings per share, pretty solid for Home Depot. Our growth rate projection, I'm staying in line with analyst projection, as you can see right here. And then we need to plug in the current yield on AAA corporate bonds. And at the time of this video, it's sitting at 4.45. And so when we multiply all of these variables together and multiply by Y, we come to an intrinsic value of $329.53 per share, a decent bit higher than that current trading price of $295. Now moving forward and looking at our discounted cash flow analysis, you can see I plugged in the historical free cash flow for the company, and the average growth rate over the past few years has been around 12.23%. I'm actually staying in line with that because that's pretty close to analyst expectations. So I'm projecting a 12% growth rate to the future free cash flows of the company and the terminal value, which is the sum of the future free cash flows past the year 2030. I then took the present value of those future free cash flows and added them together here, added the company's cash and cash equivalents, and subtracted out their total debt to get that equity value. Once I had the equity value, I divided by the shares outstanding and came to a discounted cash flow price per share of $352.29. Now moving forward, we're going to look at our multiples valuation. Obviously, our best comparison is going to be Lowe's, pretty similar company, but we also have a couple others we're using in this comparison. We're taking their stock price and dividing by the earnings per share to get their price to earnings multiple. And the average price to earnings multiple is around 23. We take that and use the earnings per share right here, and we come to an intrinsic value for Home Depot of $312.05. And the last valuation we'll look at is that dividend discount model. And what I do is I plug in the quarterly dividend payout so we can see how much they pay out each year. And again, like we've already mentioned, really good history of increasing their dividends. We have 10% dividend growth, 10% again, 15%, and their most recent dividend increase, 10% once again. So that's an average growth rate of 11.36 over that time period. Moving forward, I'm projecting a growth rate of 6.5% and a discount rate of 9%, which gives us a dividend discount model price per share of $356.14. So when we jump over to our output tab, we can see our four valuations. We have Graham's at 329, multiples at 312, discounted cash flow at 352, and dividend discount model at 356. All of those together give us an intrinsic value of $337.50 per share. Now, the current trading price for this company is around $295, as you can see, which is a difference of around 12.5%, but we are value dividend investors here on this channel, so we always apply a margin of safety. So let's say with a 20% margin of safety, you can see our acceptable buy price is around $270 per share. With a 30% margin of safety, our acceptable buy price is around $236 per share. So it's not quite in that buy range, but it is starting to get close. And if we jump back over to Seeking Alpha and we look at this chart, we'll go ahead and jump back over to summary. Look at the past year. You can see the company has been trading it traded as high as around $400 a share, but it's also been as low as around $268 per share. So there's definitely been some fluctuation in the share price, definitely some opportunities. Me personally, I actually have lows in my personal dividend portfolio. I feel like I was able to buy in at a great price. I like a lot of the fundamentals of that company as well, but I think Home Depot could be a great addition if you're able to buy in with a nice margin of safety. Great history of dividend increases and dividend growth over that time period, and really good share price appreciation. I think that will continue for the company, but obviously you want to get in with a solid margin of safety. So there you go. There's an analysis on the Home Depot company. If you'd like to be able to download this spreadsheet, you can head over to my Patreon page at the link in the description. Go ahead and let me know what you think of Home Depot in the comments down below. So with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching, and please don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel.